Welcome to episode number 98 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast.
Podcast.
Morning, fellas.
Morning. Welcome to the win column.
Whoa, look at that fancy hand stuff.
I know.
You did cross finger arms.
Yeah.
Like
What is it? Eagle, eagle, double
crossing
eagle,
guns.
whatever, as if. Oh, my daughter would know that one.
Well, episode 98 in honor of current Allen Eagle Chris Wingo.
Chad Mingo.
Chad? Is it Chad or Chris?
Mingo. Chris Chad.
What is it?
It's Chad Mingo.
Mingling Chad.
And then from the 2008
Chad
championship.
Mingo.
Gingo,
Yep.
Mingo.
Chad.
The air down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from 2008, we've got Corey Jackson.
Corey Jackson.
Held down the right side of the defensive line, with Nate Bonsu and LaChris Anium.
Yep.
The fearsome
great
threesome.
line.
And I think that was the first time Coach had admitted that he was specifically focusing on a 3-4 defense. We had the personnel to run it, and he said, we're running it. It was apparently effective.
It worked.
Way to go, Coach W.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Brought us the first state championship.
Yeah, and speaking of W's.
The originals.
Well, you are all hung up on W's. Speaking of W's,
That's what people need to focus on. Texas got a W against, who was that team they played?
Oh no, you didn't.
Oh no, you.
Oh, no, you didn't score.
Yeah.
Well,
And
virtual high five.
that was very nice. And I was thinking about this. This is seriously when you're tailgating and stuff, and you got time to think. And I was at some point yesterday, I was thinking about it. Maybe on the drive home, was like all these people that live in Texas, and there's such a rivalry between Texas and OU. How many of them? How does it happen that so many of them become OU fans? Because there are so many OU fans in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't,
Well, it's because all the OU people moved down here.
But a lot of
It's
them
kind of
are.
like Texas turning blue, Mark.
Well, that's true.
That ain't
Because a
gonna
lot of them send their kids off to Texas. You know what happens when people send their kids off to Arkansas? They become Arkansas fans, man.
Yeah.
They never show up to anything.
Well, except
Oh.
Arkansas games.
Yeah.
Woo pig.
I don't know. But, yeah, I was just wondering why are there so many OU fans around? But anyhow, OU fans. I won't say what I was going to say.
Is it because UT
You had a
hard to
whole
get
family of
into?
Fill in
Arkansas
the blank.
fans in your yard the other night, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. What
Wink,
was that?
wink.
Is it because UT's really hard to get into? I really don't know.
UT is hard to get into. In
I think
fact,
it's all the fans-
It's now the top 7%.
Kids with straight A's can't get in there.
The best way to get in Texas. Now, my partner
That's why they go to Arkansas to
Go to a
raise the
satellite
mean,
school.
is
mean
what you
grade
do.
level.
You go to a UT satellite school for a year
Yep.
and transfer. And if, as long as your grades are good at your satellite school, you have no problem getting in.
Oh, okay.
UT
That's-
Kingsville, UT
Arlington.
Arlington.
Caitlin Ripkowski did that.
Yeah.
And that's if you can't get in, and it's very competitive to get in
For just
that's the way
incoming
to do it.
freshmen.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's your
Okay.
public service announcement for the day on how to get into the University of Texas. That or get a scholarship. Play football.
Very true.
So anyhow, we're here to celebrate another.
BICTORY. You ain't got no alibi. Victory. It's Allen 31 over McKinney 28.
He's going to be going like that all of a sudden.
Now, I'm going to give kudos to this man right here, right now, for all of you who appreciate the highlights that we throw in these podcasts every week. This is the man that does it. Well, this man has a plane to catch this afternoon, going out of town.
Mm-hmm.
So he stayed up all night. He told us at breakfast this morning he got an hour and 42 minutes of
That's
sleep.
exactly.
Night long.
And he got the highlights edited for you, and so
that you can enjoy
yeah. So thank you,
the
sir.
highlights. Well, and I even included the McKinney touchdowns because you need to understand that it's not just all about Allen.
Well, and that is
Anymore.
There's nothing wrong. I mean, the coaches look at the tape.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
We can look at the tape and see, okay, what happened on that play that allowed them to score? Or
That's
what
right.
did they do well?
Right.
Because you got at some point you've got to give the other team credit for doing something right.
Yeah,
Right.
Kudos to Marcus Shaver. He's really built something up over there.
Yep.
That game, and I admit, sometimes I admit I'm wrong. I was wrong this week because I went back and did research on McKinney, and I sent a text to these guys earlier in the week and said, this ain't going to be as close as you think, because McKinney, one, their schedule's really weak. The only team with a winning record they had played, they lost to.
Yep.
And I said, they've been playing the Patsies of the world ever since. I don't think they're as good as advertised.
Well, and
I think I'm a little wrong there. I think they're better. I turned to David last night and I said, okay, if this ends up being, if you're in a district and this is your fourth playoff team, you got a strong good district.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that may end up being, in fact, I think that's what's going to happen at this point.
well, it also gets back to matchups. You know, how do they match up with us? Everybody wants to give us their top game, and you know Marcus wants to put it on us.
Coming back home again, he wants to show what he's got.
He wants to win so badly. And I get it.
Yeah, and I mean, let's start out. You know, before we get into the whole game analysis, talk about the refs. The refs basically were letting both teams play. You know, they were stepping off. If you got within 6 inches to a foot and a half of that first down line, that first down, move the chains. Let's go. Let's go.
No doubt.
It's like they needed to get home to something.
And every,
you know?
they were looking
Halftime
at
snack.
snacks at halftime for sure. All I know is it's okay to rip somebody's helmet off and throw it, and that not be a penalty anymore.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and then there was a double penalty, you know, when Kavion Sibley, you know, went out in the middle there, and he's like stiff-arming the guy with his helmet going backwards with the fingers in the face mask. And then the guy horse collars Kavion to bring him down.
Nothing. So they did let them play.
They did.
Both teams had 3 penalties, 20 yards each. So that kind of, you know, and if I was a McKinney fan this morning,
I'd be complaining.
except that on that series, not the series, but that set of downs, they got a first down anyway, so it kind of washed.
Yeah.
But that would have given them 15 additional yards. That was on that last series of the game, actually.
That's right.
Well, they have 3 or 4 where they had double-digit yards to get on third down, and
Right.
miraculously they got there.
Quarterback scramble or whatever it, you know, ended up
Crazy. That was a. I was telling Sherry last night when I got home. Allen doesn't have many games that are close. You know,
Right.
It's
A 3-point
we're
game is
used
not
to
a
it.
3-point game is not normal for us, so we got to get used
especially
to.
when you're
You're on the doorstep.
behind in the fourth quarter.
That's right.
It reminded me of Plano that one year.
Oh, the 22.
35,
Yeah.
35, 34.
Where we won by the tip pass in the
Tip,
corner.
yeah.
Chance Melanson knocked down that 2-point conversion.
The only thing that came to my mind was the Prosper game a couple of years ago where we scored at the very end to win it. Ooh, yeah, you had to come back to win. But it's time to call Coach. Very interested to see what he has to say this morning. You know, but we'll get in with him. We'll see what he.
How many rings?
1 ringy dingy.
James.
2 ringy dingies.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
Coach.
Morning. Hola.
How are y'all?
Well, we're doing good. We love a victory.
Yeah, us too.
Thanks for being in agreement with us on that one, Coach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's easy.
Well, it was a hard-fought victory last night.
It was. It was. That was to me probably the most enjoyable game I've been a part of us playing this year. You know, just they're good for one. They run the ball incredibly well. That back, I think, was held under 100 yards for the first time this year for sure. And first time going back a decent amount of time, and then you factor in that quarterback who, you know, a whole other element in the way he's able to run the ball, and you know, they put a lot of stress on you, and so they do a good job. And then I thought just their plan was great. I thought what they did, they came out, they had a good plan, they executed it well, and it was just fun because there's a lot of times to where, you know, you could have seen the kids begin to crumble. They just, you know, that McKinney did a good job of answering, but that means that we obviously answered every time as well. So it was just I'm really proud of the way they played.
Well, and you had a game, I call it a tale of two halves, because you had a really, you know, well, and one of the things that we noticed at halftime too was the number of possessions. I mean, there were only 6 possessions in the first half. Allen had 3 of them, scored on 2 of them, had a punt, but McKinney held the ball so much that you got to looking and thinking, okay, you need to score every time you get the ball because you're not going to have it that often.
That's right. That's right. The other piece of that is, again, I thought they just did a good job of being patient, and then their quarterback, did a really good job of extending some drives for them. But when you're doing that, and the defense was playing well and playing hard, so we're making their yards tough, so they're not getting big chunk plays, so their drives are time consuming, but we just couldn't consistently get off the field on third down. So what that did is lead into the short drives, and you compound that with they open the game with a drive that we're doing pretty well. They get a first down or 2 sprinkled in there, but then we turn right around and go 3 and out. So when you're playing a team that's going to be like this, and you're going to run the ball, they're going to run the ball as well as they do and have all year, and they're not just doing it with little speed backs. They're doing it with big, powerful, hard to tackle guys that wears on you. Right? That's tough to do over and over. So when you have that, and then once an offense goes 3 and out, and you force that defense to get back there. I mean, we've all done it in whatever aspects of our life we've been a part of. The defense goes right back out there, and they're tired, and it's hard to ever really get your breath back. When you get it, it's like you're not like I've run a marathon, but I visualize you go in and you're running and you start getting tired at mile 2. Well, you're not all of a sudden going to start feeling a whole lot better mile 4. You just have to keep going, and you're tired and you never really get back. And that's what it feels like in games that a team is that powerful in the run game. Is you've got to counter that with first downs when you get the ball, and that first possession we went 3 and out, and it kind of set the stage for a long night for our defense just because of that aspect.
Yeah, it felt like we were playing a Trinity team there for a while, with that in your mouth I formation running. And I think the kids did a really good job of containing that in the first half. The third quarter was really a tough one because they were hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, they were, and again doing the same stuff they did the first half, and we just had a breakdown a couple of times, but it, again, that team's been scoring 50 points against much lesser defenses in my opinion, but this game to them was their everything.
Yeah.
They are, as y'all know, their coach. Beating out. This is a good football team he has, and and they did some things coming out of their open week that they just did a good job. And I was really, really proud of the way the kids fought. And again, like you said, in that third quarter, really the entire second half, there was just some opportunities that you could have said, "Oh no," what?
Oh, we did.
Second half kickoff,
sure, but it was just that's what. You like to beat people, and however you like to beat them, but it's a whole lot more enjoyable from my seat when you see a team win the way they won last night. Just because they had to keep, make some big plays, and if you'd have told me how the second half play out, I would have said that if that team is able to get a first down or 2 in that last drive, it's going to be really, really, really tough to ever stop them because we are so exhausted. And I would have thought they're probably going to find a way to get it in the end zone, and then we're going to have to find one more way to answer again. And yet, the defense came up and made the big stop on fourth down when they needed to. So it was following a great answer again from the offense. So just really the end. You like it from what you see out of the kids, and something you hope you can build on of that mindset that hey, offense, you can go down there, and when the game's on the line, you can find a way to make a big drive, and then defense, when you've got to get a stop, let's bow our neck and find a way to do it, and you can point back to that end of that game to where they did both of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the classic thing that you had brought up early in our conversations with you was the effort that the kids were given, and that was really evident on the onside kicks. We had the one that we didn't recover.
Yeah.
and I guess there was some counseling being done with the with the kids after that one, and they picked it up, and they ended up getting that second one that they kicked. So that's
Improvement, you would say, yeah.
well,
I guess.
improvement, but just absolute effort. They're trying.
No, they do that for sure. Yeah, they do. And yeah, again, just we've given up 2 onside and both of them, things that should not have happened from our seat. But that's a tough play. The way they did it is tough. Question some pieces of that puzzle of how so the rule, you kick the ball and you can't touch the other team until the ball goes 10 yards, right? So it has nothing to do with where you are, any of those things, but they literally can't come touch the ball until it's gone 10 yards, and and that's why you don't see a ton of that anymore, because it really should be called a lot more often. We've in our kickoff done that for a long time, and you used to get it called a bunch, and people shy away from it. But I guess you just say your hats off to them for doing it and executing it and getting it. But it's to your point, the second one they tried, Emery Laster, what phenomenal effort, really just fight and competitiveness, because it was another really, really good kick that they had, and it'd been easy to say it's going to be the same result, but he it wasn't like it was just hey, an onside kick's going to come to you, field it. It was far from that second recovery was just a really, really good play on his part.
Yeah, he had to work through some traffic to get to that one.
He did. Yeah. Some physicality.
Yeah.
No question.
One of the things I wanted to say, and we sort of passed it by, but I'm going to go back to it. We're talking about your defense getting tired out. McKinney, from the end of the first quarter, that drive they have there, they held the ball for 9 minutes and 17 seconds. A 21-play drive. And you don't see many of those, especially in high school ball anymore. And, with people running the spread offense and everything tends to go quicker. So you had a tale of, like I said before, a tale of two halves, and then you come out in the second half and you kind of got a track meet. It's like, who's going to score last? So it was really, really a dichotomy of two different games going on there.
Yeah, yes, but no, and I think what you say is what happened is you go on that long drive, and like we said, is once you start, working that body, then those headshots start becoming a whole lot easier, so as you saw, it wasn't that they were doing things to become more explosive. It's just, it's a little bit easier for those 4-yard gains to become 14-yard gains when fatigue sets in, so that's, to me, it's just beautiful football, when you're able to, I'd like to say, you throw it around and throw for 500 yards a game and light up the scoreboard, and all the fans are fired up, and just some good old school smash mouth, here we go. I thought they did a really good job, and just really proud of the way that our kids responded to it as well.
Yeah, we agree. All right, Coach, you've got your Tennessee out of the way, and now you got Alabama and Georgia coming up.
Yeah.
Geyer this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you going to tell us you haven't looked at the film yet on Geyer?
I definitely have not. I am still sitting right here on McKinney right now.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
Well, it'll be a tough game. We'll tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt. No, they they're old. I know those coaches over there well. Rodney Webb, that guy who had been there, is very, very, very close friend, and so I know of them from a distance. I haven't seen a snap of them from this year, but just know their program, and actually, was up over at Geyer, with them this spring, and prior to me coming here, I could have told you a lot more about Geyer's kids, because I'd been in a weight room with them around spring break time. So, I know everything they're about, and I know they're playing at a really, really high level, and they have a little bitter taste in their mouth of losing the state championship last year, and I think they're on a mission. So it's going to be a phenomenal test, and they just do what they do, similar to a Braswell, but they're just they haven't any, maybe a quarterback as good as most teams do. They're doing it at a real high level, mixing in great RPO world offensively, and have some really, really good talent on both sides of the ball. But it's gonna. I can't wait to see them on film because I know what I'm going to see. It's going to be a really, really, really nice piece of work, and it's going to be fun for us, and a great challenge on a short week, So you've got to find a way to put 3 days into 2 in a hurry, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're excited to see it too. Obviously, Thursday night, 6:00. We're going to let you go. We do have a softball question this week. We're just going to do some. We had you pick Texas last week over OU. Good choice, by the way. So you're 1-0. There's 3 big games in college today. First one's Tennessee and Alabama. Who's your pick?
Yeah. I think it's amazing. We sit there and we think Alabama, all this, but I think it's just amazing what they've done. It's so hard, to get to the top, but then to stay there is that much harder. So I just have so much respect for what Saban's done with that group. But I'm going with Tennessee because I love what they do offensively.
Awesome.
Okay, and it's at home, so that
helps.
That helps. You've got TCU and Oklahoma State here locally.
Yeah. That's tough. I hate to even say that out loud because my son, spent last year at Oklahoma State, and I love those guys. I love everything about that staff. But then, TCU is a Texas school, and I think I've got to go TCU.
All right. And the last one is it's not so much local, but it is big on the national front. Utah and USC.
Yeah, I'm going USC.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. We'll see how you do next week. So you're 1-0 for the season, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So, Coach, again, good meeting your son yesterday. Thanks for bringing him by.
Yeah, thanks for.
Hope he enjoyed himself last night.
Thanks for all y'all coming by. That was great.
Yeah, I'm glad he got to meet you guys.
Yeah. Well, Coach,
your son's very handsome. Was he adopted by anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
the wife's side of the family there, Al.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
Oh, wow.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Good luck this week. We'll see you Thursday night. We'll talk next Saturday, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll have a great week.
Hey, you
Thanks.
too.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, bye.
There he goes, Coach Wig.
Once again, appreciate it. Good sense of humor.
Yeah, he puts they came by, 4 coaches came by yesterday for about 10, 12 minutes, and we shot the breeze, and we had some good conversation with those guys.
Figured out there's some tough skin.
Yeah, they got real tough skin, and they don't mind us saying what's on our mind. One of the coaches actually said, heck, you think I don't get it when I get home? My wife lays into me.
What the heck were you thinking?
Which was very funny,
Yeah, that
she-
second play on the third drive, you're on the couch tonight.
Yeah, exactly. What was that mess? So, as Coach said, and I think it was very revealing. I love talking to him because he reveals stuff to us that we think, and we think we're right. And
Yeah.
In the middle of a podcast. Like that.
oh my gosh, that was good. But it was a tough physical game, and I think a lot of what he said about even a team as deep as Allen is, because they rotate a bunch of people, you get tired.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they leaned on him hard. And that one drive, seriously, it started with a minute 53 left in the first quarter, and Allen, what are you laughing at?
Because it was.
Allen didn't get the ball back till 4:46
Yeah.
left in the second quarter. It was over a 9 minute, 21 plays. You think about that. When was the last time you saw a 21 play drive?
That's a crazy long. A lot of
It's an average of like 3.34 yards every, and you're just like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, so what extended that? Because there were penalties, redos, timeouts. What the heck was going
Well,
on?
and it would be like 3rd and 10, and they would get 14 yards, and you're just like,
Yeah. I mean, they found a way to get there. I mean,
Well, there were several fourth down, or at least one fourth down. They went. Go ahead.
I was just saying, the whole field was open when you've got the receivers going all the way downfield as far as they can.
Mm-hmm.
You leave a whole wide open area in the middle, and it's pretty much anybody could pick up that yardage at that point.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I was doing math real quick here.
That's all right.
But the game starts. Allen kicks off. McKinney. Even at that play, it was a 10-play drive. They only got 5 yards, but it went 10 plays because of penalties and things like that. There was a blitz in that first. I don't know. You probably got that highlight.
Yeah.
Where, and I don't even remember who made the tackles on that blitz, but on a 3rd down, you lose 12 yards. They punt. Allen gets the ball, and it's a 3 and out. On a 3rd down, actually, it wasn't a 3rd down. It was a 1st down play where Messiah ran slant, and I don't know what that ball hit on him. It may have been his knee.
I think it was his knee.
And it went further than the pass when it bounced off.
He was
of
10 yards in front of the
Yeah.
defensive guy, too.
Yeah, that would have been a touchdown.
That
First
would've-
play of the game.
But 3 and out. McKinney gets the ball. They run another 10 plays. Only get 23 yards. And they go for it on 4th down, and they lose a yard. And so Allen takes over. That's when they went for it in their own 44, 45 yard line.
Here we go.
So the field is flipped automatically. And again, I go back to, and I say this all the time about coaches who go for it on 4th down or use trick plays or use onside kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in their brain that they can't win without it? Yeah. Or is that, now, Wager, we know he does that all the time. That's ingrained in his game plan.
Or obviously they don't have somebody to kick a field goal because they probably should have done that at that last
several points during the game. Yeah, you wonder what's the mindset of that. Why do you go for it on your side of the field when your defense did a 3 and out the first time around? Do you really think you can't hold up? Well, when Allen gets the ball from the 45, it takes them 5 plays. They go 44 yards. They score on Sibley's first of 3 touchdowns for the night.
Orchestrate the drive. Come on, Mike.
What if they're going to run to
Oh, my gosh.
Kavion had another good night, 130 yards rushing on 20 carries. He had one big long run, which we'll talk about, and we have that highlight. But every week, Mr. Consistency will show up, and now he had some tough yards last night too. He had to run hard.
Yeah.
That defense, that whole team. I guess we can talk about McKinney for a minute. Just is so improved. Because McKinney used to be a patsy in this.
Yep.
I'm just going to say it, and then don't be offended. You are.
It just is what it is. Yeah.
He's brought that program up, and I noticed last night what I was most impressed with their team was their lines on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the offensive line is huge, a bunch of big kids,
Yep.
and they just were. And the defense was solid. They were solid tacklers for the most part. You could just see an elevation. And I think they had an article, the Dallas Morning News had an article on McKinney and Shavers in the paper this week, and one of the things Shavers talked about was, I think this is his 5th year there, and he talked about consistency. He goes, I've been here 5 years, and they've had, 3 coaches at Boyd at the same time period.
Right.
And there's something to be said for that, to build that. And granted, he's got a great running back who has offers from every major school. He had a 4-star quarterback
Right,
transfer
quarterback
in.
is no slouch. Yeah,
And that's another thing about that team. I think that shows when you get a decent quarterback, it will elevate, especially, well, obviously
The
your
whole team,
offense.
yeah.
The offense gets so much better when you have, especially one that's a dual threat. Because the kid could run the ball.
Yeah.
He was very elusive, and
well, and the way he set up that offense, it really is Trinity-like or Trinity-esque. They're not quite as much downhill running with the way the offensive line blocks, but it's really effective. If you can get a little crease or a seam, that running back is such a hoss that he'll end up riding you 5 or 6 or 8 yards, with somebody on his back, and you got to take him down by the legs. We stood him up a couple times. I mean, the first half was much more successful than that third quarter.
Well, and he didn't, by his standards, he's the second leading rusher in 6A in the area.
Yeah.
He had over 1,000 yards coming in, averaged like 9 yards a carry, and he finished with 70 yards, but only 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Good
his
job
longest
defense.
run. I think his touchdown run might have been his longest run of the night. That was 11 or 12 yards.
Yeah.
So he wasn't as worn down as they might have been.
He wasn't
weren't
breaking
worn
off
down
big,
enough
long
that
runs,
He wasn't breaking
yeah.
anything long. Now, your scat back or your wide receiver.
Well, yeah, and when the
quicker.
quarterback, would have to scramble and broke contain, he would find, some running room underneath. But that's where, the routes they're running allowed for that. The pass routes on the wide receiver part allowed for that scramble.
Yep.
And the quarterback is maybe as good or as fast as the running back.
Yeah.
So
Allen takes a 7-0 lead on Sibley's rush. McKinney gets the ball back and goes 87 yards on 21 plays.
Yeah.
As we just talked about, a 9-minute drive.
painfully long.
And they score on a 10-yard run by Jackson to make it 7-7. Allen gets the ball back and drives, only for the third time in the first half. They punted their first series. They scored on the second one. They get it for the third
You got to
time.
make them count. I mean, that's the thing with a team that dominates in the run like that.
Yeah.
The game goes fast. The clock keeps running. And you got to make your drives count.
Yeah, and they get down inside the 10-yard line, and they end up settling for a field goal.
Right.
With 25 seconds left in the first half to go up 10-7. And all right, you're getting the ball back to start the second half. You're like, okay, do your
Let's
thing.
make it. Yeah,
Score.
Make it, yeah.
Make it a 2-score game, and breathe a little easier.
God, that sounds like a great game plan.
Wasn't it great? We all had it figured out, and I think the coaches probably were thinking the same thing.
I
I
was
know the
thinking
front
something
line on
different.
that kickoff team was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, they
I just knew that Shavers was going to try what they did so far during the game, that he was going to pull something out of his hat.
They
and
ended
I
up
thought the possibility of a onside kick.
Just a beautiful onside kick where the kicker ends up kind of hitting the ball on the top, hitting on the ground. It goes up just a little bit above head height to where he's running right behind the ball.
Yep.
Almost, you'll see it in the highlights. Almost touches it right before the line, but gets it just after the 10 yards, the 50-yard line, and recovers it.
You got it. You got it. You got it.
So all the good plans that we had, other than David, are gone.
Yeah.
Just like my
Gone.
paper that I haven't read yet. But
Yeah, just like you said. I mean, people are going to they do trick plays and things like that because they don't know that they can pull it off.
yeah, you got to do something.
They've seen it in the past where we just come out of nowhere and just go on down the field and pull plays off and walk off and leave people.
They take the ball and they actually go 12 plays. This is so wrong. I don't know why. McKinney takes the lead. Oh, this is wrong. That's it. And they get the ball at our 48 after the onside kick.
Yeah.
And they drive down the field and score on a 15-yard touchdown pass.
Getting too aggressive. Here we go. Yep. Touchdown.
Keldrick Luster, the transfer quarterback from one of the Frisco schools, good player. He can spin the ball, and he was very You know, he was 14 of 20 last night for 186. He did well.
Yeah.
What I found amazing was the guy that caught so many of their passes, number 3,
Yep.
is their linebacker.
Oh, he played both ways.
Yeah.
Dylan Brown.
And I'm just like, oh my heavens.
Even
what a great deal.
Even at 6A,
Yeah.
you have to.
Yeah, there's
He's your
some-
best player. He's your
ways.
best player. He goes
Well,
both
they
ways.
didn't field 65, 70 players.
No.
You know, so the team is not that deep. But
Yeah.
if you've got such a talent, why not play them on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So McKinney goes up 14 to 10. Allen gets the ball back. They go 11 plays, 66 yards. And they run a bubble screen, which we always scream about,
But
but it was a different one because they threw it to Sibley.
right.
Who had 2 blockers in front
They,
of him.
they
Three
lo-
blockers in
yeah,
front of him.
they loaded up 3 wide receivers,
Yep.
you know, to one side, threw it
And-
out to Sibley, and
He did the rest. And that the thing about that play, which was so great, was they had a penalty because they got inside. They got down to the 2-yard line. Then they had a false start penalty, and then they had a holding penalty on a touchdown.
Right.
Got called back,
Right.
and it was 2nd and goal from the 17. And you're like, oh boy.
do it again, do it again.
And
Called it. Called it.
Touchdown, Eagles. That is the SFA big play of the game. Mike Hawkins to Kavion Sibley.
you're like, what,
Punched it
the
in, it
minute
worked.
he threw it to him, I looked over. I actually stood up and I said, "He's got it," because you could just see the Red
Yeah.
Sea partying there. The blocks were great, and that
Blocks
one
were
worked.
great, and Sibley's a great runner, so
Yeah.
This is a point where we see that we have to score every time we have the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the way this game played out.
Yeah. So
well, and thank goodness the offensive coordinator, if he's going to use that bubble screen, he's drawn up some different stuff. So
yeah,
so
you got to modify it a little bit.
let's give him a hand. Yeah.
So Allen goes back up, 17.
He evidently didn't sleep on the couch last night.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll have to ask him next time we
Not
see him.
going there.
Allen kicks off. They get a 10-yard pass to Khalil Best, and then on the next one they do a little shovel pass to him,
Hoop-de-doop.
jet sweep,
Yeah.
and he goes 65 yards. And I was texting Sherry score updates, and she said, "Why do you keep sending me a score every 2 minutes?" Because it was just all of a sudden back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth, back and forth. Kenny scores quickly. It's now 21-17. Allen gets the ball back and they end up punting. And you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on here? But the same thing happens to McKinney. They get the ball and all of a sudden it's settled down a little bit. They punt. So at the end of the third quarter, it's 21-17 McKinney. You're like, okay, you got 12 minutes, guys, to figure something out. Allen gets the ball. They go 94 yards, 11
Yep.
plays. Again, all these long drives. And that series was highlighted by a 53-yard run by Sibley.
Yeah.
You know, and he could have been called for a face mask, and like you said, he could have been called for a horse
Yeah,
collar.
the defender looked like he threw a little horse collar to get Sibley down.
Yep. And he,
You'll see it in the
and
highlights.
he
We'll be
scores on an
inserting that.
8-yard touchdown run. That was a tough,
Yeah.
tough 8-yard touchdown.
Oh, he
run.
broke it was a rush up through the A gap, and
Yep.
he took a couple people with him and broke out and got over the goal lines.
There we go.
Kavion Sibley. Touchdown,
Allen
Eagles.
kicks off, leading 24-21. The first play from scrimmage, McKinney completes a 68-yard pass that almost was a touchdown.
Yeah, down to what, the 2-yard line, 3-yard
Yeah,
line?
3-yard line.
That was number 3 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, people, what is going on?
Gee, stop it.
Yeah. And so Luster ends up scoring on that one on a quarterback rollout.
Yeah.
He rolls to the
the
far
right.
right end zone. And
Yeah, I
scores.
think our defender just couldn't quite catch up to him.
With 8 minutes left, McKinney's now back up 28-24. And you go from a first half where nothing was going on to, outside of 2 punts in the middle of all this, it's been score, trade and score.
Well, this is about the time they started up on the second most cursed chant in all of high school football.
We can't hear you.
There are 2 cursed chants in high school football. So much bad karma, teams lose
The
when they start these chants.
chant, overrated.
The O word, the overrated champ's number 1.
Yep,
That's the most bad karma. And McKinney, I cannot hear you today.
What? I said what?
Yeah. And it might be your student section's fault. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Bad karma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
if
That's
any
a-
of the student section leaders hear that, don't go there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can do Who's Your Daddy. I heard that a little bit from the Allen student section, but
Yeah, because McKinney hadn't beaten Allen since 1999.
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the Plano East theme here. Of course, there's a lot of teams like that, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
And that's got to be hard, because, the people look at the schedule, see Allen, and are like, I'm not going to that game. 'Cause and this was a good chance for them to win.
So at 28-24, we had, 9 minutes something left?
8:19 left
8:19.
Yep, left in the game. So you're like, okay, guys, what do you got?
Time for a drive.
And they put one together. Sibley.
Luke Watkins kick, covered by number 27, Emery Lassiter. Your Allen Eagles will take over first.
Does his thing, gets 10 yards and 3 carries. He gets another 8 yards, and then Hawkins rushes for 4. They're down to the 26-yard line. And then this play, I wish y'all could sit with us and just hear the comments we make about what goes on, because Hawkins drops back to pass, and Devon Mitchell runs a seam route, and Hawkins goes to throw it, and Cody goes, no! And about that time, Mitchell catches it, and I go, why not?
Empty backfield. Delay draw.
Touchdown Eagles. Mike Hawkins to Devon Mitchell.
Because from our angle, you could see there were 3 defenders underneath Mitchell.
Yeah.
And there's actually a good video on Twitter
From
of
the
a
end
different
zone.
angle,
Yeah.
from an end zone angle, and you can see as long as Hawkins throws the ball either to Mitchell or over him, nobody's going to get it.
Right.
And he dropped it, over those 3 defenders that were doing the underneath coverage.
Mitchell goes up a little bit, extends.
He did, and he's a 6'5"
Nicely.
kid.
Yeah.
Makes the catch. And,
Touchdown.
And Allen scores, and they're back on top. But it was funny because Cody's
Well,
yelling no.
We'll see if I caught any of that in the highlights. Maybe I should have enhanced the
He's right next
audio
to you.
instead
You
of
should have been
turning
able
it
to catch
down.
that.
Yeah.
It was just
No, there was
Allen
between
Allen
us.
was the book.
Well,
He
yeah,
was wound up last night, too.
We'll check it out.
But it was funny. He was like, no, why not? But a good catch. It was.
Yeah.
It was kind of. It wasn't near as. I'm going to go back to you. OU fans are going to hate talking about this. The JT Sanders catch, the Ewers pass to him in the OU game was in a box about that big. There was just the window was so small, and that window wasn't huge. But as long as he threw it where it needed to go,
As long as it wasn't underneath like it was all game,
yeah.
there would be no issue.
Yeah. So they score, which is great.
31-28.
Yep. And then
McKinney gets the ball back. and
Okay.
Can we stop him? Can the defense
Yeah.
stop him?
Can the defense
poor,
stop?
poor Marcus. I had my binoculars on, and when the game ended, and he had that disappointed, almost pissed off look on his face.
Yeah.
Did it again.
Yeah. Anything, and he
Probably
hit-
really disappointed for the kids because
Yeah.
he's a player's coach. I keep hearing that a lot.
McKinney does get down to the Allen 32 29-yard line, actually, with just over a minute remaining. They're out of timeouts.
Which
have to go for it.
In part due to the Allen crowd showing
Yeah.
up, forcing some timeouts early in that
The
game.
crowd and the band,
Yeah.
the scoreboard operator.
You know, he goes back, and he probably wishes he could have kept a couple of those.
Yeah.
Because that would have helped him some. But they get first down to the 29. Actually, they get to the 31. They rush for 2 yards on the first down. Second down, it's an incomplete pass. Third down, incomplete pass. Luster drops back on fourth down, ends up scrambling out of the pocket, and
He got within 2.5 yards,
Yeah.
and ends up getting shoestring tackles.
he gets hit pretty hard by Brock wins it.
There you go.
And number 40, who's number 40? That
Nathan.
Is that Marsh? Oh, my says Marsh. Yeah.
Nathan, yeah.
So two defensive linemen are 6 yards downfield making a tackle
Yeah.
on a quarterback scramble. And so Allen just kneels out 3 plays. That's the end of it. It's game over. Allen Rue goes to 4-0 in district with 3 games remaining, which, according to my math, and again, I may be wrong.
Fuzzy.
CPAs.
I think they clinched a playoff spot last night because everybody.
I know. I clinched last night.
Just what everybody wanted to hear this morning, Alan.
Cheeky.
Thank you for sharing
Very
that.
cheeky. Yeah.
It's the 15th.
So,
whatever that
so
is.
Diego's first game back last night after
Diego Avila.
Yep.
4 weeks or whatever, and he had one massive hit. You know.
He did. We have that. I think we have that highlight. We have the Nathan Marsh, just absolute obliteration
Oh,
of
yeah.
Jackson in the backfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason that's so impressive is Marsh isn't the biggest defensive lineman. He's the
Right.
quickest we've got for sure. And Jackson's a load. And
Yeah.
he just. Hello, Mr. Jackson. Welcome to Allen.
It's
you
all
know.
physics.
Yeah, mass times velocity equals acceleration.
So Allen moves to 4-0 in district, 6-1 on the year, and like we talked with Coach, they got 2 really big games coming up yet. You got Geyer this week and Prosper in 2 weeks, both of which Geyer beat Boyd 49-16 on Thursday night, something
and
like
then
that.
played Braswell, beat him 62-7.
Yeah, Geyer beat Braswell last night.
Yeah.
And then in the other district game,
shellacking.
Rock Hill beat Little Elm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think was the clincher for Allen was that Little Elm loss.
Right.
So now you owe the tiebreaker over the 3 teams that are down at the bottom of the wishing well. So you have Allen and Geyer both at 4-0 in district.
Right. And that's basically for the district championship.
Yeah, Prosper's at 3-1, having lost to Geyer, and then McKinney falls to 3-1 in district. So they'll probably that's probably your 4 playoff teams, like we started talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a little bit of eyeballing over on District 6A because that's where Allen's first round opponent will come from.
Could be another Plano City championship if we
it
take
was a
that.
big game last night in Plano. Louisville
was.
strolled into town because Plano was undefeated in district, as was Louisville, but Louisville slapped them pretty good.
Put it on them, yeah.
Plano still holds the inside track there for the second D1 playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
They still got a couple of They still got Marcus and Coppell to play, so that could shift that up. But
Yeah, and Coppell's getting salty.
yeah,
Maybe.
Hebron's the team that is chasing Plano, but Plano already beat Hebron this year, so they own that tiebreaker. So there's a possibility. I think Louisville and Plano will be their 2 D1 schools out of that district, and Coppell and Flower Mound Marcus will be the D2 schools.
Marcus ended up beating West 42-20, and as we talked
How did
about.
East do last night for our buddy Professor
Oh
Diggs?
gosh, poor Matt Diggs, Professor Diggs. Yeah, Coppell beat him 42-0.
Oh, my
in
goodness.
a shutout. It was painful.
I have not looked at his dump last night yet. It'll be interesting to see his thoughts on that. Bless his heart.
Did he rip the bandage off, or did he
I don't
delay
know,
it?
because they started out 3-0,
Poor
and
guy.
life was good on the east side, and now they're 3-4, 3-3 at least.
Yeah.
What's Coppell?
Coppell has only got.
He's starting to turn it around.
You know, I think it's still up unless I dropped it off too. It won't be in there. I've already dropped it, David. I can look up while y'all banter a little bit if you want to banter.
Ooh, I got a good one. I went to Sonic in Sherman
6-1.
earlier this week, and I pull up, and they've got Bearcat flavored slushes.
All right.
What is a
Did you
Bearcat?
get one?
Is that sweat flavored slushes?
So their mascot there is the Bearcats, and
So I'm just interested. I think that's great. The hometown team. But the question is, what does it taste like? What's the flavor? What's a Bearcat flavor?
that's
Like
a good
wet-
question, isn't it? I
Wet
was like,
cat fur. Wet cat fur.
Wet cat fur.
Gross.
Well, what's that taste like?
I don't know, Dave. Help me out.
Coppell is 6-1.
Yep.
Their only loss being to, I think they lost to Louisville. I can tell you who they lost to.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sherman, we need to get.
While you're looking that up, I'd like to throw an award out.
Throw it.
Taylor Collins for I Just Want to Kick Anybody's Butt award. Especially that first quarter, man. He was flying around just trying to kill people. I love it. Like total disregard for the body and just
No
wants to
fear
hammer
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
people. I love it. I love it. It's beautiful.
yeah. Coppell's loss was to Louisville, 38-3.
Ooh,
Wow.
hello.
Oh wow!
So
Louisville has got a team.
yeah, they played well the last couple of years. So
We need to give Tyson a call. Find out
Yeah.
what happened there.
next
Tyson, we
week,
wanna come to a
Thursday
game out there.
at Denton Geyer, 6:00 start. People, don't forget that.
So leave at 1:30.
Yeah.
Take the day off.
Don't-
Call in sick. Do what you got to do.
Wow.
Just be there.
I was waiting for you to say, "Quit your job."
No.
So there's no school next week?
No school this week.
Maybe the band will get there.
Maybe.
Well,
Like
some of them
kickoff.
will. We'll see how many of them show up.
Some of 'em,
because
yeah.
it's a lot of people. There were a lot of people
on
gone
vacation.
last night. I already
Yeah.
took off. You go on Facebook and everybody's
Yeah.
camping or taking trips.
I'm not going to say quit your job. Retire. Go ahead.
Just
Take that
cash
retirement.
it in.
Cash it in.
That's hilarious. All right, so this week, who does Prosper play this week?
Prosper?
Prosper, who is now 3-1 in district. They play Braswell.
That should be a W for Prosper.
Yeah, that should be.
And then McKinney's got Prosper and Geyer, you said?
They do.
Still. So that's going to be tough, both of those games. I hope
Well,
they
probably-
at least
probably-
win one of
They
them.
probably have Boyd in there too. Yeah. Well, they got Rock Hill, then Geyer, then Prosper. Well, they end with Geyer and Prosper.
Ouch.
Yeah. So they could go to, they could be 4-3 in district, or they could maybe they'll pull an upset. Because it would be an upset on anybody who beats those two teams is, McKinney. So we'll see. We'll see how that rolls out.
John Bell, thanks for coming by the tailgate.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, coaches. Again, thank you for coming by. Big college football week again. It's, as we mentioned with Coach, we kind of pulled out 3 big games, so there's a lot of them today.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not doing, it's going to be 92 degrees today, so stay indoors.
Wow.
Kick on the TV. Rain's coming tomorrow.
Yeah. Go jump in the pool. It's going to get cold next week.
Yeah, because 35 degrees Tuesday night is the forecast right now. So
Volleyball.
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 We went to volleyball last week.
Man,
Last
the girls,
Friday.
they
Man,
pulled out such a serious victory there.
They're really good. It's a lot of fun to watch.
It is fun. And Alan brought up a good point to the assistant athletic director yesterday about you need to get volleyball off Friday night. And I know they do it at 5:30, but that game went till it was after 7,
Yeah, the
especially if
match,
it goes
yeah.
more than 3 sets.
Yeah.
They could do it at 2:30. Still, nobody's going to come except for their parents.
Yeah. They put
They
that
would
on
do it on a
Thursday
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Well, and with us being in a bye, there was a good turnout.
Yeah, and it was
So that
ASA
was
night
impressive.
there too. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it was
was
fun.
fun.
Those girls went, whew.
There's some good play.
Big student section there too.
Yeah.
There was. It was fun. So get out and support your Allen Eagle teams of all sorts, shapes, and sizes. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Anything else, fellas? Geyer week. Be there. Be loud. Be proud. We'll see if we can pull off the upset again. Oh, you got stats?
I do have stats.
I knew I was forgetting.
What kind of
something.
stats do you have, Code Man?
Okay, so they've played 7 games so far this season.
Right.
I crunched the same numbers for them that I did for Allen 2 weeks ago. So I've got their performance on offense and defense against the average for every team they've played so far.
This is McKinney or Geyer?
Geyer.
Oh, okay. We're looking ahead.
We're looking ahead.
I like it.
So, 7 games, 7 offensive performances, 7 defensive performances.
Yeah.
How many of those were worse than average? Let's go around. So that's out of a total of 14. I'm going to tell you right now, it's under 5.
Whoa.
Jeez.
3.
3?
Oh, man, that was my... I'm going to say 2.
2?
I'll stick with Allen 3.
3?
3.
0.
Oh, no.
They've been better on offense and defense than average in every game they've played so far.
They're unbeatable.
So here's
They're
the thing.
invincible.
Perfect football.
Perfect football.
They're primed for the fall.
You know, they're beating up some widows and orphans. You know, intriguingly,
Some homeless children? Yeah.
their worst game statistically,
Only children?
McKinney Boyd,
Really?
who's our second worst game statistically, despite being a whopping 0-7. So something's going right over there, even though they're not winning.
Huh.
They've never faced a defense like our defense.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing about the game we just had in McKinney.
500 yards passing.
They're averaging 41 points a game. We held them to 28.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Which is their second lowest total of the season, other than the 10 points they scored in week 1. And on offense, they're averaging 25 points, on defense, they're giving up 25 points a game, and we scored 31. So actually, despite the game being as close as it was, we did better than most teams do against that team. So,
And that's
some things to be
that
hopeful
seems to
about
be a
there.
trend. Yeah. So
yeah.
well, as a Geyer team, do you have enough information to tell us what's their run pass mix? You know about their quarterback and running back, right?
Yeah, well, the quarterback's a 5-star going committed to OU, which we'll see if that sticks.
whatever.
That is such a crowded quarterback room. You know, why the heck they did not put Booty out there last week? I have no idea.
I was
I
thinking
can't
the same
imagine.
thing.
Give him some
You got
time.
the kid who led the
Yeah.
nation junior college last year in passing, sitting on the bench, and they threw out that joke of Davis Bevel, and then they ran the Wildcat, and then you got your running back throwing a jump pass. I mean,
Yeah, and that went well.
yeah, I mean,
They did put Booty out there, just not General Booty.
Yeah, and they got their booty smacked when they
They
put
did.
it out there.
yeah, I couldn't figure that out. But yeah, Jackson Arnold is a good quarterback, and we talked about this a little last year after the game. Was every quarterback's good until you put a lot of pressure on him, and that's what happened last year, especially in the first half.
Yeah.
Really got after him. He wasn't near as effective, and Allen jumped on a big lead. Remember, Jenkins took the first or second play from scrimmage to the house. Speaking of which, he had a great game versus USC last week.
Yes.
Yeah, is he going to be in town next Thursday?
Jenkins suiting back up. But I don't. Other than that, I don't know much about Geyer. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm like Coach. I haven't watched the film yet.
Max Preps has got him as number 1 in the state.
Yeah, there
got
you
us
go.
at 4th.
Wow.
Yep.
Arlington Martin's down at 10th. So we've already beat a top 10 opponent. They're
Dallas
higher-
News has got them, I think, first in state also.
They've got the 4th strongest strength of schedule,
Jeez.
but we're number 1.
Oh, strength of schedule.
Strength of schedule.
Well,
We've had the
okay.
toughest record by a fair margin of anybody in the state of Texas,
Well.
according to Max Preps. So,
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't give Max Preps very much
Well,
credence.
you know.
But
But you said, oh, by the way, this game's on ESPN too.
oh, really?
Just FYI. For those of you who don't want to drive to Denton, not that I'm encouraging you not to get out there and
I don't
kids,
want to drive to Denton.
the game will be on ESPN.
Come on,
and maybe
man.
ESPN too. Yeah, you go back and look at their non-district schedule. They played Heath, Aledo, and Lancaster, who beat the pants off of Forney last night, 49-6. And they've already played Prosper
Yeah.
in an ugly game. It was 23-6, not a real pretty game by any means. And then they beat Little Elm, Boyd, Braswell, as you would expect. So Aledo's lost 2 games this year, so they're not quite what they're used to being. But yeah, they are what they are. They're good. It'll be a good test, as Coach says. It's funny, he loved that game last night. He thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're all up there stressing, biting our nails down to the nubs, and he loved it. So it's interesting. He's an old school guy.
Yeah.
You can tell. He doesn't like this 500 yards passing. So anyhow, people, enjoy your fall weather coming up. Enjoy the rain tomorrow.
That's right.
Hook 'em.
We're bring a coat with you on Thursday night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be a little chilly, which is it's almost November, so that should be that way.
It should be.
Next home game against Prosper on
28th.
the 28th is senior night, as well as one of our favorite nights of the year, Dave's chili night. So,
Oh, it's going to be so good.
wanna-
Yeah, and one thing we didn't mention is the band.
what about the band?
Boo Bowl, baby. The band into
2 weeks early.
Yeah, 2 weeks early. Well, and that's because we're going to Geyer, and they don't like doing Boo Bowl on away games, and
Do it
So-
on the 28th.
yeah,
They've
but
done it on senior night before.
get it out of your system. I don't know.
Well, they got it out.
They got it out.
Yeah.
Lots of good costumes. It's a fun time.
Oh, and I have not heard back from Obato.
We keep dragging this out, don't we?
I know we do, because this is important, because for those of you who don't know, we sit one section over from the band, but they can hear us when we yell at him. And Obato goes, "What should we play?" He asks us all the time. He asks the kids, "What should we play?" And we always yell Freebird. Well, when he grabbed us one day and said, he goes, I can't find any music to play Freebird. Well, my son this week in his research found the stand tune for Freebird. And I sent Obato a message last night. We found the stand tune for Freebird. So, Obato, it's on you, brother.
That's right.
We got it.
We expect.
We expect it for the Prosper game.
You got 2 weeks, buddy. Get with us. We'll get you the music. We want to hear Freebird. So we just thought that was funny. So anyhow, appreciate you listening. 2 weeks, we'll have episode 100. We got a good guest list already signed up, ready to come or be on the phone. So that'll be fun for everybody.
Yeah.
We may actually break it up into two.
Yeah. We
two
want to do
podcasts.
everybody justice.
Yeah, we want to give those people the time. Plus, we're going to have a football game to discuss, and I don't want to make it a 2-hour podcast, so it may be 2 1-hours. But
Yeah,
we'll,
'cause it's hard enough to get people to listen to us for 10
I
minutes,
know
much
it.
less an hour.
But we do have some blasts from the past, either going to be in studio, call it the studio, or on the phone. So
Is that what this is?
Yeah, we'll look forward to that. So until next time, folks, it's over, and we are out.